Hello, good evening, and welcome to your most authoritative business and economic analysis program, Business Focus, live here on TV3. My name is Asiedu-Dartey. Thank you for joining us, and it's a privilege to be with you this evening. So what are we discussing tonight on Business Focus? Well, an estimated amount of $100 million is paid as container demurrage every year by shippers to shipping lines operating at the various ports in the country. Now, demurrage is the penalty paid for delay of a ship or freight cargo beyond its scheduled time of departure, usually 7 days time period in Ghana. Well, tonight we want to find out why we're incurring this huge amount of cost. What's going into it? We'll be speaking to the Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents Association, Mr. Asiedu-Dartey, who joined us in the studio to help us discuss this issue. Also, it's been 10 years since the announcement of commercial discovery of crude oil in Ghana was made. The price of a barrel of crude oil was about $68 and on steady increase. Now, the price increase continued until it hit a record high of about $147 in July 2008. Well, that was a period of excitement for oil-producing countries and a nightmare for non-producing countries. Today, on the program tonight, we want to explore some of the fundamental legal issues governing the upstream petroleum industry and what can be done to address them at a time when another FPSO has just been commissioned to kickstart production of oil in commercial quantities. We'll be, delving deeper into the subject. We'll be speaking to a Deputy Minister of Petroleum, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adams, and also speaking to the Technical Director at the Petroleum Commission later on the program. We'll also be looking at the commodities market, the price of cocoa, gold, and oil, how it's faring and its impact on the local market, as well as we'll do some analysis on the stock exchange as well. This is Business Focus, your most authoritative business and economic analysis program. We'll start off with summaries of business news making headlines. We'll be back shortly. All right, so you're welcome back to your most authoritative business and economic analysis program, Business Focus, here on TV3. My name is Asiedu-Dartey. So let me just quickly introduce, for the purposes of our discussion tonight, for very first subject, the Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents Association, Asiedu-Dartey. Good evening, sir. Thanks for your time and good to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
But just before we start that interview, shipping lines operating on the country's ports were told back $100 million annually as container demurrage charge from shippers. Now, the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Carlos Anhinkra, described the charge as illegal.
An amount of $100 million are backed annually by shipping lines operating at the country's port. This amount is paid by shippers for exceeding the 7 days free period of keeping the containers. A situation the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Carlos Anhinkra, considered as illegal, adding up to make the cost of doing business high.
Most shipping lines don't own their own containers. All the containers are leased. The last time I checked, it was $1.50 per day. But when the container gets to our hands here in Ghana, it costs us $30, $40 for 20-footer container per day as demurrage. Yes, it's tricky. People want to have their containers back quickly and ship them out. But you ask yourself, is that amount of money commensurate?
This concern, the Deputy Minister and an international freight forwarder says government will force shipping lines to reduce the amount in Ghana. Members of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers, made up of shipping agents, brokers and managers, also met to deliberate on the issue.
When over 80% of liner cargo cannot be cleared from the ports within the allowable 7 days, then something has to be done. When shippers, fully aware of the consequences, still hold on to container after the allowable free time has long elapsed, something ought to be done really fast.
The international body is seeking to raise concerns of the inefficiencies in port operations.
All right, so you're welcome back to Business Focus, your weekly business and economic analysis program. So we're back in studio. The Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents Association, Adams Imorayana, is my guest on the program. Thank you very much, sir, one more time, and thanks for being in the studio. So let's start off, and I give a bit of background to this subject. We're told that an estimated amount of $100 million is paid as container demurrage every year by shippers to shipping lines operating at various ports in the country. Now, demurrage is a penalty paid for delays of a ship or freight cargo beyond its scheduled time of departure, usually 7 days time period in Ghana. Now, the situation, according to the Ghana Shippers Authority, contributes to the high cost of imported goods, congestion of the port, excessive loss of revenue, inefficiencies at the port, among others. Now, statistics also indicate that over 80% of consignees are unable to clear their cargoes at the port within the 7 days allowable time, resulting in container demurrage. So I started with you. I just started by giving a brief background to what demurrage is. But tell us, for somebody who's an industry player, what is demurrage cost?
I think they've all said it all. I mean, demurrage is simply put that you come to me to take your container, your cargo from one point to the other, and then I put your items into a container. And then when we get to destination, I've already pre-agreed with you that I'm going to give you, based on the port practices and situations, I'm going to give you 7 days or sometimes 14 days or 21 free days, even up until 40 days to take delivery of your cargo. And after that, if you are not able to take it, then I'm going to charge you because it's an opportunity cost. But suffice to say, I have to make a very important point. It's unfortunate that I don't know where we are getting all the figures from, because shipping lines make money when the containers are on the sea. Like you rightly said, and they all said, it's a punitive measure. Shipping lines do not want the demurrage. They want the empty containers back. So sometimes when we are talking of some of these issues, we have to actually go to the root causes. And I don't know where they got the $100 million from. I'm sure shipping lines would be smiling if we had this money for our principals, because I can tell you that all these cargo, the 80% that they are mentioning, I can tell you that about 60% of it enjoys between 14, some enjoy 14 free days, some enjoy 21 free days, some enjoy 30 free days, and some enjoy 40 free days.
What's the allowable period?
The allowable period, the standard in Ghana for dry containers generally is 7 days.
Okay.
But I have to also make this
within
point.
Which period the good must be cleared.
Must be taken delivery of. Yes, you have to empty the container and then return the container to me. Then thereafter, a lot of people have, you know, commercial deals, because shipping is a commercial business. So at the end of the day, we have a lot of negotiations with the client. That is why you see that some people have 14 free days, others have 21 free days, others have 40 days. And even after this, those who still leave their containers in come back to the shipping lines for what we call waivers or rebates. So again, about 60% again of the cargo, of the actual amount that has to be charged, is also discounted. That is what we call rebate. So I don't know where people are getting this 100 million from.
You talked about this being a punitive fee. What will make a shipper incur demurrage charges in the shipping world?
At the end of the day, I mean, the way I look at it, let me look at it in the strict business sense, because every importer or exporter should plan your shipment well. And if you plan your shipment well, you know when the container will be leaving its origin, you know when it's going to come, you have the estimated period. So if you plan well, by the time the cargo is here, you should be able to take delivery even before the 7 days. Why is it that most people are able to take delivery even upon discharge, and some as early as 3 days? Why can't others do it in 7 days? That is what we have to be finding out, because it's a serious opportunity cost for the shipping lines. The containers are needed elsewhere. Like I told you, we make money when the containers are on the sea, not when the containers are on the ground.
When it's on the sea?
We are excited, more excited when it's on the sea than when it's on the ground, because you look very silly to your principals, as if you don't know your job. Why are you keeping the containers so long down there? You know, when we need them elsewhere, we are losing businesses elsewhere. So those are the challenges. Yeah.
So it's not standard practice that you've got only 7 free days as period granted to the
No,
consignee?
it's not standard practice, and you can go around and ask all the importers. You know, people should first appreciate the fact that these are business entities and these are commercial entities. The shipping lines do not they are not a cartel even to fix rates. Everybody runs their business independently, and you run it based on your costs. You know, everybody's cost is different, but bottom line is we want to get the containers out there. So a lot of people, I can guarantee you that about 60% of the imports into this country, a lot enjoy 14 free days, some 21, some 30, and a few up to 40 days. So I don't see the point.
Can you give us a sense of what the figures look like?
In terms of what exactly?
The charges, I mean.
The charges, averagely, I would say some of the shipping lines, maybe after the first couple of free days, some of them would charge, I would say averagely we can put it about maybe $20 to $30 per day. You know, thereabout. Let me strike the average, but it's aggregated.
Right.
You know, after a certain number of days, it increases. You know, like if I give you 20 or 40 free days or something, after that maybe it will go to 25 free days. After that it will go to maybe 50. Or those who enjoy only the 7 standard free days. After the 7 free days, you have some have 9 days at maybe $20, and then the next 10 days or something at maybe 25, and subsequently at 50. So when you even look at the cost structure, you can appreciate that it's something. It's a serious opportunity cost. It's a disincentive for people to strip the cargo, the containers, and release them.
And is it possible for the consignee to negotiate the figures instead of the charges?
Is it a demurrage? They always negotiate. Even after this free period, they always negotiate.
Right.
You know, it's a commercial thing. That is what people should understand in this country. At the end of the day, the first point is that the shipper is a customer to the shipping line, right? So we have that relationship, so the doors are open. No shipper, I can challenge you, no shipper can tell me that he or she does not know their cost. That's their shipping cost from point A to point B. It's not true. When you go on the website, it's there, everything is there. You know, on their notice board, it's there. So I don't see it. It's nothing is hidden.
So how do you respond to concerns that, you know, by the Ghana Shippers Authority, that this contributes to the high cost of imported goods, it contributes to congestion at the ports, excessive loss of revenue, inefficiencies of the port, amongst others?
Demurrage? Demurrage obviously will contribute to that. It also contributes to the cost of the shipping line because there is an opportunity cost to us, right? So at the end of the day, it's a cost to everybody. So the people in the system, I mean the authorities or whatever, and I think more so it starts with the importer. If you have your documents right, I think Ghana is putting in all the systems where you can have all your documents, especially shipping documents, you can have them far ahead of prior to arrival of vessel. So the other things you have to do here, most of them are able to do it before the container comes. So
I've got to ask this question, pardon me. Are you able to explain why the delays in clearing the goods?
I don't want to get to that point because it's between the importer and if he takes an agent, his agent, right? Because if you have all your documents set, I don't see why customs is going to stop you. If you are clean, you have you know, clean documentation, your cargo, you don't have any problems with it, why would anybody stop you? Because you can always prove, you know, that you are innocent of anything. So it's about first having your documents right and planning your shipments, you know.
Let me get on the phone lines and speak to Clement Boateng. He's the Deputy National Organizer of GUTA. Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng, for your time. I know some of your members have expressed concerns about the demurrage charges at the ports of entry. How bad is it? Hello, sir. Hello? Mr. Boateng, can you hear me? Well, I'm afraid I can't hear Mr. Boateng. Just continue with the point you're making.
No, you see, at the end of the day, how bad is it? I mean, we shouldn't be looking at the quantum of the money. I don't think that is the problem. That is not the problem. The problem is, are people executing their work well? Is everybody doing their due of the process? You know, because at the end of the day, I mean, the life of a shipping line in the clearance process maybe could be half a day or a couple of hours in a day, which means when you come to me and I have to release your consignment for you, it's not going to take you the whole day. So you're not going to spend all the time at the shipping lines offices.
So if it takes, for instance, a month or two or perhaps a year, what happens?
Can you imagine the cost to us? That is a huge cost to the shipping line. Like I told you earlier, we want the boxes out there. So if you are sitting, you have the box sitting down at one place that they don't even need it. Don't forget, in Ghana, it's about, if I'm not lying, about 8 to 1. That is, you're bringing 8 container imports, you can take out 8 exports. So it's a deficit, it's a surplus area. And you have to take the empty containers to the deficit area where it's needed to go on the sea. That's where we make the money. So if, for instance, I'm shipping line A, shipping line Adam, and you, what's your name again? Pakwesi, shipping line Pakwesi. And a client comes to me, Adam, and he wants 100 containers, and I'm not able to give. And he says he wants to place all his 100 containers on my vessel, on one vessel, and Pakwesi can give. What happens? I don't lose just one box. I lose all the 100 containers. That's an opportunity cost.
I'm going to come back to you later. Let me get on the phone lines again and try and establish contact with the Deputy National Organizer of GUTA, that's the Ghana Union of Trade Association, Clement Boateng. Thank you, sir, for your time. I started by asking that I know that indeed members of GUTA, some members have expressed concerns about high demurrage charges. How bad is it?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me. To be frank, your line is very faint, but if I could hear your question very well, it borders on demurrage at the port, isn't it?
Right.
Hello?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. Demurrage is something, traders have been battling for it over the years, because if you bring in a container, you have only 7 days for free. That is the moment the ship berths at the port and the container is taken from the ship. You have only 7 days free, within which you have to clear your container. If after 7 days you are not able to clear the container, it is there
And as an association, how bad is it for you?
Well, it's something that we have fought, for at least for them to increase the number of days. Some of the shipping lines used to give even 21 days free, but it seems they are more reverted to the 7 days. To the 7 days free, and after the 7 days, you don't have anything to do, but rather to pay for. If you're not able to clear a container, then you have to pay. So it's something even we have a complaint to the Ghana Shippers Authority, to do something about it. But up to now, they've not been able to do anything about it, and it's a border. It's a border to the business community, or the traders in Ghana.
Mr. Watson, are you suggesting that your members who are traders do not have the luxury of negotiating for further extension in the deadlines? Is that what you're saying?
At all. We don't have the luxury of negotiating. It's the shipping lines, that are dictating the pace, and maybe it's something that the Ministry of Transport, has to, do something about it. The shipping lines
hold on for me.
Of the traders, and they are dictating the pace and do whatever they like. So if the Ministry of Transport, can take it upon themselves, to intervene and do something about it, I think the business community or the trading public in Ghana in general will be very glad about it.
Mr. Clement Watson is a Deputy National Organizer of GUTA. Kindly hold on for me, sir, because this sounds pretty much alien to the Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents Association, Adams Imoro Ayana. You were suggesting that the traders have the luxury to negotiate for further extension.
I'm not just suggesting, that is a fact. And you can ask Honorable Boateng if some of their clients, his colleagues, don't have other free days. Some don't enjoy 14, some don't enjoy 21, etc. Ask him that. And also ask again if at some point in time, when they even accrue the demurrage, they don't approach the shipping lines for what we call rebates, and it happens. We should ask all these questions.
So, Mr. Watson, you probably are just taking advantage of the laxity in the system, because as you may be aware, the more these goods keep on the shipping lines, it's at great cost to the ship owners.
Can you come again? As I earlier told you, the line is very faint, so
what the Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents Association is saying is that most of your members have the opportunity to negotiate beyond the 7-day period, and so it just sounds like most of you are abusing the laxity within the system, because as you may be aware, the more time these goods spend on the shipping lines, it comes at greater cost to the ship owners.
That is the reason why they are taking advantage of that situation to impose that charges on the traders or with the importers. Asking why is it that some of the shipping lines used to give 21 days, but right now they have even cancelled it. As far as I'm concerned, we have only 7 days. The 7 days, if the 7 days elapse and you are not able to clear the container, you enter into the demurrage charges. So I'm not aware of this point that is raising now that we can negotiate. We have the luxury of negotiating. How far can we negotiate? Why is it that it used to be 21 days, but rather they have cancelled the 21 days and have reduced it to 7 days? And the charges that they are charging $52 per week for the first 14 days. After the 14 days, when they review the rate, the new rate is applied. You can ask him.
I've got two final quick questions for you. I just want to understand what leads to the delays in the clearing of these goods.
Hello?
Yes, I said I've got two final quick questions for you. I want to understand what leads to the delay in the clearance of the goods by your members.
No, you see, no importer will bring in a container, knowing very well that he has only 7 days, which is demurrage free. And then if within the 7 days he cannot clear it, it enters into the demurrage and he has to pay. You see, sometimes when it happens like that, maybe it is due to maybe the values, the values which will be given to the importer, and sometimes because of the high nature of the values, the importer may petition the commissioner for customs for a reduction of the values given. And if it happens like that, when you petition the commissioner, it will take some time before your petition will be addressed. And when it happens like that, definitely the 7 days will elapse and it will enter into a demurrage. So what we are saying, what the trading public is saying, that even if it will enter into a demurrage, they must see to the fee that we are charging. As I told you, currently we are charging $52 after the 7 days elapsed and you enter into the 14 days. You are being charged $52 per week. So if we can do something even about the fee, I think it will go a long way, to help us.
All right, my final question to you, and I want an answer in 30 seconds. What do you want? Do you want a total scrap of demurrage fees or an extension to 21 days or more? What do you want?
Well, I think what we want is an extension. Because as I told you, we used to give 21 days.
An extension by how many days?
An extension of the 7 days. They used to give the 21 days. So if they can go back, if they can revert to the 21 days, I think it will go a long way, to help us.
All right, Mr. Clement Boateng is a deputy national organizer of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Thank you very much for your time. $52, that's quite on the high side.
You see, I just don't want to place emphasis on the quantum, right? Like we said.
But you admit that's on the high side.
I wouldn't say it's on the high side because the cost to us is higher than that when you look at it. I mean, when you do the numbers. But you see, it's a challenge, and I want to make this point very clear. What he's saying is trying to tell us that those who sell on the market, the Ministry of Trade should go and tell them to reduce their whatever, because it's high. When the public cries, the Ministry of Trade should go and tell them to reduce their rates. It's neither here nor there. He has admitted, you see, and we should be factual to the truth. It wasn't, there's no 21 carte blanche for everybody. And the first point is that the shipping line, the importer or exporter, is a customer to the shipping line. And before the cargo is even shipped, all these things are negotiated already. So if they want to reduce this, then at the time of booking the cargo, they should have their negotiations
Can you go
done.
back to a standard 21 days
We
instead
can't
of
go
7
back
days?
to, we can't go back
You
to that.
cannot go
you
back to
can't
it.
go back to that.
Why?
Because of the cost involved. Why should it take 21 days? I mean, what we want to congest the port? You know, what do we want to do? We want to keep containers in the port for 21 days? Then what are we talking about port efficiency?
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Adam Simorayana is the Vice Chairman of the Ship Owners and Agents, Vice President of the Ship Owners and Agents Association. Thank you very much for your time. We spoke to Clement Boateng, who's Deputy National Organizer of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about 10 years of oil discovery and production in Ghana. Understandably, whenever people whenever people talk about oil, they think about money, and the first thing that comes to mind is making money. Tonight, we want to explore some of the fundamental issues governing the upstream petroleum industry and what can be done to address them at a time when another FPSO has just been commissioned to kickstart production of oil in commercial quantities. We'll try and speak to the Deputy Energy Minister, Mohamed Amin Adams, and also speak to Technical Director at the Energy Commission, Petroleum Commission, I beg your pardon. We'll be back shortly.